Well, Alexander.
Hello.
Alexander Stewart is in this. I was trying to mix your nickname and last name at the same time that you just told me. Alexander Stewart is in the building. Hi.
Hello. I'm very excited to be here.
Can I just say that? So I want to say, how long ago was it when we talked? A couple of months ago?
Oh, probably more than that now.
A couple of months ago, maybe 5 months ago.
Yeah. Wow.
And at the end of the interview, because we did it on Zoom, and I was like, you need to come in. We need to do this officially. And you're here.
I'm here.
Alexander,
Finally.
thank you so much for coming in.
Man, thank you for having me.
So when I first saw you, I was like, God, you're so tall. I don't know why I didn't expect you to be so tall.
It's a very large topic of like discussion when people meet me, especially when I do shows. People come up to me and they're like, there's no way. I'm like, do I give short king energy online?
Listen, I don't know why. Short king energy. I don't know why I thought that you were like, I don't want to say shorter than you were, but like you were like tall.
I was on TikTok live the other day,
Mm-hmm.
and this is, I find it quite entertaining because really no one knows how tall I am. So I asked them all, I was like, how tall do you think I am? And the amount of people that said like 5'6".
I was about to say 5'6", 5'8".
I was like, that's brutal.
I know.
You guys.
That's why you can't be going on TikTok asking questions because people will humble you.
They humble me quick.
Right.
My followers humble me so fast.
And you were saying earlier that you wish you were shorter, and I was like, said no one ever. Why?
I think things would just fit better.
Yeah, I get that.
I feel like I got weird proportions. I like don't have the longest legs, but I have a really long torso.
Right.
So then I have to get like extra large t-shirts, but then they're super baggy.
Mm-hmm.
This is just me problems.
The struggle. It's so funny because there are a lot of people that will love your height, but it's like, isn't it crazy how the way how we see ourselves is so much different than how people see us?
I had this realization. I mean, I guess a while ago, but it just like keeps hitting me where it's like people will tell me things about themselves that they're like, I don't know, insecure about or nervous about or whatever, and it's never once crossed my mind ever. And I'm like, that's probably the same thing reversed. Like, I probably am insecure about a ton of things that people would never, ever, ever notice.
Besides your height.
Besides my height. That one is a pretty noticeable.
What's one thing that you feel like you're insecure about?
Oh, God. One, my top lip.
Really?
Yeah. It's tiny.
Again, that's not something I would even think about.
See, that's what I mean.
Like a top lip? Really?
Yeah, I had this conversation over the holidays with my sister because we were blessed with these little itty bitty top lips.
So what's another thing you feel like you're insecure about?
Oh God. I mean, I feel like just body image in general. I feel like most people struggle with that.
Isn't that crazy though?
It is crazy, and it's funny because no matter where I am, because I go through all these cycles of like super like working out all the time and trying to feel really good about myself and then falling off the wagon and then not working out for like 5 months in a row. And it's like at any point, I'll still feel like insecure about my body, but then I'll look back on pictures when I was really in my workout. I'm like, why couldn't I just like damn.
Yeah,
I
stick
look good.
through with it, right?
No, never.
It's funny because I'll look back at pictures and I'll be like, man, when you're in the moment and doing it, I'll be like, man, I'm like huge. But then you look back on those pictures and you're like, I was fine then.
Exactly. It's your brain's way of being just not nice to you.
Right.
It's crazy. I have the exact same thing. I'll look back at pictures where, at the time I thought I was like, I have so much progress, like so far to go. And I look back, I'm like, God damn, I looked great.
Yeah.
Like, why couldn't I just been like, high five, Alexander.
Mm-hmm.
You did that. No, absolutely not.
Is that something that you still feel like you struggle with?
All the time. Are you? Yeah. I mean, I talk to all my friends. I think everybody struggles with it. Like, I don't think I've ever met one person that's like, yeah, I'm perfectly happy with the way I look. Just the human brain don't work like that.
No. But
unfortunately, I wish it did.
I feel like you need to check your brain, though.
You absolutely do.
Like, when you check your brain out loud, that's when it stops saying all of those negative things. Like, you know what? I'm fine. And then your brain's like, oh, you know what? You are fine. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. I mean, I remember watching, I think it was an interview with Meghan Trainor, actually. Mm-hmm. And she was talking about how, I think it was her therapist was giving her advice on like, body image and how to like be nice to yourself. And she said that they told her to stand in front of a mirror. And this is a real thing that I've heard about, like completely naked and just like stare at yourself for like 5 minutes. And you'll start to like find things that you like about yourself. And at first it's going to feel extremely weird and uncomfortable. And then you start to just like fall in love with different parts of your body that like maybe you didn't like before. which I think is really cool. I haven't done it, but I probably should.
Yeah. Standing in front of a mirror and just saying nice things about yourself.
Yeah, it's hard. It's kind of hard to do. Like, I've tried. It's to like really believe them. If there's something that's so, your brain is such an interesting thing, and it's like if you tell yourself negative things, your brain believes those negative things. But it's the same thing where you tell yourself positive things, your brain will believe the positive things. But it's so much harder to tell yourself positive things than negative things.
How do you feel like you get over those insecurities?
I mean, therapy. I'm a huge
therapy works.
Huge advocate for therapy. Oh my
Right.
God, it's changed my life. And also just like positive affirmations towards yourself. I'm about to do this thing that I've seen people do where they take a baby picture of yourself and put it on like your bathroom mirror, so that every time you like talk negatively about yourself, you look at like your young self, like whatever 5-year-old Alexander, and you're like, you're talking bad about him too. And I've heard that like that does amazing things. I really want to do that. I need to print out a picture. And also just like, talking to people too. Not necessarily for like, I guess insecurities, but just like being open and like not totally shutting down emotions all the time. Growth.
So I guess that's what songwriting does for you.
Oh my God. Yeah, absolutely. I think about this sometimes. I don't know how it sounds so ridiculous, but like, it's like, I got my actual therapy, but then that's also like another form of therapy. I just don't know how people don't write songs. I don't know what I would do without it.
I mean, I think it's just you're journaling, but
exactly.
I know a lot of people out there that journal.
Yeah.
And your form of journaling just happens to be music.
Exactly. It's when I feel really intense emotions, like I'll talk to my friends and my family, but the first thing always I want to do is write about it, which is great because, when you go into a writing session, you're sitting there with, maybe you have a co-writer and the producer, and you sit down and like, as the artist, I just like, bleh, I just like vomit out a bunch of stuff about the situation, which feels great in and of itself. And then I get it off my chest, and then I get to make a whole like body of work that other people could listen to.
Right.
I just think it's the coolest thing. Like, so therapeutic.
I was about to say, do you ever feel a way just laying it all on the line and letting people hear everything that goes on in your head?
Yeah, truthfully, for a long time, I feel like I was nervous to really like speak extremely truthfully in music because I didn't want to be judged. But that's kind of gone out the window, especially with Flames on Me. The last song I just put out is for sure the most honest song I've ever written. And I walked into the studio that day and sat down and I was like, I have to write a song about how I was not the, perfect angel in the relationship, but it can't be like oh, poor me, like I want you to feel bad for me, even though I was like, no, I just have to say like I messed up and it wasn't great. And I wrote that song and it was the most insane feeling because when I heard it back, like whatever, 2 days after, and they sent the first version of the song. Well, the first time I listened to it, I actually cried. Not because I was like, oh my God, so beautiful, because I was like, I finally feel like I've really put into words exactly how I was feeling and didn't kind of shy away from like being nervous that people were going to like, judge me for it. And I think a lot more people related to it than I even thought on both sides of the coin. Cause I talk about how I was the one that messed up and I ended up ending it and wasn't fully in it. And I didn't realize that there are two sides of the coin to heartbreak, where it's a whole different kind of heartbreak when when you're the one that ends it and regretted it, because then you feel guilt and like shame and all kinds of different things that you don't feel on the other side. But it was really cool because I had a lot of people reaching out saying that they loved the song so much because it was almost like their own form of closure after, having something end or having someone end it with them. I'd never thought for a second when I wrote it that people would listen to it from the other perspective, assuming like that their ex or whoever was sort of sending it to them, which I thought was, I don't know, just really, really cool.
When you say you messed up, are you talking about you got out of the relationship too early, prematurely, or was there something that you did in the relationship
I just wasn't. I didn't cheat or anything. I just wasn't present enough. I was sort of getting really busy at that time and stressed and overwhelmed, and I didn't handle it well, and I wasn't around enough, and I ended up just ending it.
Can I just say, this is why I feel like being in your 20s, there is no room for a relationship. Because let me tell you, you are on the up climb of your career. You're writing songs. You're running around. There is no time for none of that. Let me tell you, there's going to be time when it comes in your 30s, not even your 40s, 50s. You know what I'm saying? To settle down, have a relationship. But when you're in your 20s, like, you need to figure out, like, number one, who you are. Number two, like, if this is even, a relationship is even something that you want to do, and you're in your career right now. That's why I feel like 20s, you need to be like out there just doing your thing.
I actually could not agree more. And like, if you're in your 20s and in a happy relationship, like, all the power to you.
Right.
I don't think I'm taking a break from dating right now. I don't think I have the capacity, because I always thought, like, since I started dating, I was like, I just don't really want a relationship. Like, I kept feeling this like weird feeling in my like stomach that I wasn't ready for a relationship. And it obviously came out in the last one. Clearly was not ready for a relationship. And it didn't stop me from trying, because like there's a different part of me that so badly wants a relationship and a person and like someone to go to, but I couldn't do it. It felt like more overwhelming than like what a relationship should be. And I kind of agree with you. I fall into that boat for sure.
Like, overwhelming, and it's holding you down.
Yeah. Which a relationship should never be. And that was at no fault of anybody. Like, I was just busy and didn't know how to deal with it, and ended up being distant and lame and bad.
I don't necessarily think that. I just think that you didn't have probably the mental capacity to even deal with it. You know what I'm saying? And it's always someone who doesn't necessarily understand, like someone who isn't necessarily like in the entertainment business, that knows, like, sometimes I'm going to go MIA. You know what I'm saying? And it's nothing that anyone's doing. It's just like, go, 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 go.
And the thing is, you can't, especially if they're not in entertainment, you can't blame them. It's like this business is so all consuming, and at any moment you could have something tomorrow that all of a sudden throws off every plan, and to expect someone to just like have to accept that and be like, cool, like, yeah, like, no, that puts serious strain on a relationship. And sometimes you can only say sorry so much before it kind of looks like you're prioritizing your career over the relationship. And at this point in my life, my art is like my life. Like, I've been working towards this for like almost a decade now. So I'm like, I will at this point pick, me. And that's okay. And I'm coming to terms with that's okay. And I just don't want to, hurt anyone else in the process like that. And that's sort of what Blames on Me is about, because I just didn't know. I really just didn't know. And so like 2 months after the relationship ended, I was like, almost felt like a weight off my shoulders. I was like, okay, like, I'm free. Like, I can do what I do. I don't have to worry about keeping someone else in the loop. And then like 3 months after, delayed heartbreak. When you like feel something and you squish it down really hard, it doesn't go away. It just kind of bubbles until it blows up. So then I had a really delayed heartbreak. And then like a month after the heartbreak, then it dawned on me. I was like, and it was my fault. So then 5 months in, I wrote Blames on Me.
But here's the question. What are you supposed to do in that situation? You know that this is going down, and it's going down fast.
Yeah.
How do you get out of that situation? Are you supposed to stay in, and not necessarily calling it a toxic relationship, but it's like toxic for your mental health because you don't know how to deal with it. So what are you supposed to do? Are you staying in it?
Yeah, I mean, clearly not. Not on my end.
But no, it's all rhetorical. Like,
exactly.
What are you supposed to do? Like, the heartbreak is inevitable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and there's only so many hard conversations, like, at that point, at least I felt like I could have, until I was like, this isn't, like, nothing's going to change right now. Like, I'm not going to be turning down things that I've wanted to do my whole life to, like, I will try to find as much time as I can, but you only got 24 hours in a day. And so it just kind of
went down fast.
It went down fast and quick. It did.
You know what I appreciate? You don't use pronouns in your music to let everybody feel included.
Yeah.
Whose idea was that?
It kind of has always been that way. It started with Sam Smith, because when I listened to Sam Smith's music, I realized, because it was the first album I ever bought. Well, second album, I guess, but whatever. And it was my favorite album. It's one of the albums that's inspired me the absolute most in the lonely hour to like, and I'm sure if you listen to my music, you can hear inspiration. And I realized like a few years after listening to the album that there's like no pronouns. And I thought it was really cool. And so when I started writing music, a lot of which again inspired by Sam Smith, they never entered the chat. They just didn't. And so I just kept on with that to this day. And I just think it's kind of cool because I think it's an extra layer where just sort of anyone listening can like fully relate. And like there's no part of the song that's going to take you out. I just feel like, you know, and obviously there's nothing against anyone who uses them. Like it's just kind of a personal thing. But it's not something I ever really consciously was like, I'm not going to do this. It just sort of went that way. And now I feel like I want to keep it going.
Absolutely. That's really interesting because whoever's listening to that song, you're literally speaking directly to them.
Yes, that's exactly it. It's kind of like I just want to be a narrator.
Mm-hmm.
And I want people to feel like they can relate to what I'm singing about. Like to the fullest extent. Because that's what, when I listened to Sam Smith's album, it just was every song I could relate to in like 7 different ways. And I just thought it was such a beautiful body of work.
Absolutely.
So I feel like it kind of trailed over a little bit.
Are you ready for touring?
Oh my God. I am so incredibly ready for touring.
February, March, and April, yes?
Oh, yes. My first ever headline tour.
How do you feel about this?
I mean, I feel a bajillion different ways about it. I have been waiting for this moment my whole life. When I got to finally announce that I was going on a headline tour, I like sobbed. It's all I wanted to do. Playing these songs live, incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Hearing people sing them back, crazy. And then doing it in like different parts of the world, like Europe, crazy. It's unbelievable. I feel like we got so accustomed to seeing these numbers on our phone that it's almost easy to forget that every single one of those numbers is a real live human being that is actually listening to your music. When you play live and see it and hear it and like experience that all together, it's just the craziest feeling. And my whole life, I've just wanted to play my own shows.
I would not know how to act if I'm performing and hearing an audience singing a song back to me. I wouldn't know how to react to that. It would be surreal.
It's so funny because the producer I was with, who I did Blames on Me with, was talking to me. He's like, when you play that live and they're all screaming it back, he's like, you will cry. I'm like, I know. I will sob probably in the middle of the song.
When's your birthday?
August 27th.
Oh, are you a Virgo?
I am. August Virgo.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you emotional?
Yes.
Only reason I ask is because I feel like I don't know any emotional Virgos.
I feel like the August Virgo's got a little bit of spice in there. Outwardly, I'm not really that emotional. I mean, you hear me talk and whatever. I'm a pretty happy-go-lucky person when I'm with you, and like I feed off of other people's energies like very intensely.
Yes.
But I mean, you listen to my music and it's all extremely sad, so it's in there and it does come out. I feel like I get more emotional when I'm by myself. It's weird. I have a hard time being very emotional in front of people. I don't know why. I should probably talk to my therapist about that. But
I mean, listen, it's probably, first of all, I feel like you don't have to. You don't have to be emotional in front of no one if you don't want to. But as long as you don't suppress that emotion, it's all good.
I definitely don't suppress it. It definitely boils right to the top. But typically when I'm alone.
Alexander's a sad boy.
Yeah, he is. He is a sad boy. Stubby.
Let us know, what are you working on next?
Man, I have so many songs I'm so excited about. I feel like after I wrote Blames on Me, it kind of just opened this like door for me of just kind of even further just like elevated, I would say, music that's just more raw and real and special to me, which I hope makes it more special to others. And the thing with art is like, you know, it's mine until I put it out, and then it's anyone's to be perceived however they want, which is amazing and terrifying. But I've been working on a lot and, you know, really, really hoping for a body of music to come out later this year. And just honest music. I feel like that's the one word I can sort of really describe it as.
I tell you what, We don't find music. Music finds us.
100%. 100%.
Stubby, thank you so much.
Stewart.
Those are some of his nicknames. Say about for me.
About.
Never mind. All right, have a
About
great...
a boot. Did you want me to say a boot?
Yes, I did.
A boot.
I just wanted to see if that was a thing.
It is. If I'm really going, like if I'm really ranting in the middle of a conversation, it will come at like house and about and
Say house.
house.
Okay.
House.
I feel like some people say it like his or something
House.
like that. His.
Thing is, I'm from Toronto. Like I'm not from like super rural, so like
Yeah.
I don't got the craziest Canadian accent. But when I go home, even for like 4 days and come back, all my friends are like, "What has happened to you?" The Canadian accent, it's not like the sexiest accent on the whole planet.
Don't. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.